Well, liberal theology the term is used in two quite different ways. One of them is a kind of historical use, when you define it in terms of a tradition that began in Germany. Often Schleiermacher is thought of as the father of liberal theology. And the other is a deeper understanding of a whole mindset and attitude and relationship. So if you define it the first way, then you could say, well, liberal theology ceased to be the cutting edge of theology by the middle of the 20th century. There were serious criticisms of what liberals had done, and liberal theology seemed to be so bound up with middle-class people and the point of view of people who were influential and basically well-off, that when others began speaking, they were critical of liberal theology. But I think we need to see that liberal theology, even if it had become quite middle class and complacent and too oriented to the status quo and not interested in radical change and so forth and so on, that the deeper spirit of openness to learn and to develop theologically according to the best information, the best ideas that were around, that, of course, didn't have to end just because we found out we've been making some mistakes. In the United States, the most influential critic of liberal theology in the first sense, the one that limits it to the way people thought in the 19th and early 20th centuries, was Reinhold Niebuhr. But from the point of view of many people who might call themselves liberal today, Niebuhr was a great liberal. To be critical of the way you're thinking and to be open to learning new things is a liberal spirit and liberal attitude. But he was very critical, for example, of the fact that liberals were very optimistic. They thought human beings were basically good and that we were going to be progressing rapidly and we would move away from war and injustice and so forth and so on. And of course those things didn't happen the way many liberals had hoped and expected, and he helped us to understand why that was the case by thinking more deeply about human beings and the problems human beings have getting along with each other, both individually and in groups, and gave us a more realistic way of looking at what is really possible in human history.